The chainsaw can be an extremely dangerous tool if not operated correctly. This program will look at a range of operational and cutting procedures that are crucial for safe and successful chainsaw operations. When in constant use, a chainsaw should be thoroughly checked at least daily. When a chainsaw is used intermittently, it must also be thoroughly checked or inspected before each use. Ensure handles are in place, tight, clean, dry and free from oil. Ensure guards are tight and in place. Check that all controls function properly and that the muffler is operative. And finally, check that there are no petrol or oil leaks. A two-stroke engine runs on a mixture of petrol and oil. Check your operator's manual for correct petrol-oil ratios and oil types. Engine damage may occur with the wrong fuel mixture. Mixing of the petrol and oil must be carried out using a safe container and not directly in the fuel tank of the chainsaw. You should also ensure that the fuel has been thoroughly mixed. Petrol and oil mixtures are extremely flammable. When adding the fuel mixture to the tank, always use a funnel with a fine screen filter. Ensure the area is well ventilated and wipe away any spillage. When refueling, ensure that all personnel in the immediate vicinity are not smoking and that there are no naked flames or other fire hazards close by. A fire extinguisher should be within easy reach. Whenever refueling the chainsaw, the chain lubricating oil must also be checked and topped up if necessary. And finally, if the guide bar is fitted with a sprocket nose, grease the bearings every time refueling takes place. It is always preferable to start the chainsaw on the ground. However, in some situations, it's not appropriate or practical. Whenever starting the chainsaw, the most important consideration is for the chainsaw to be firmly supported. First, move at least 3 meters from the refueling area, as stray sparks from the engine exhaust may ignite any spilled fuel mixture. Again, check that the throttle trigger, safety throttle lock and stop switch operate correctly. Ensure the chain brake is placed in the off position. Turn the ignition switch to the on position. Pull the choke all the way out to the closed position. Place the chainsaw on firm, level ground, checking that the chain is clear of all obstructions. There should be no people or animals within 3 meters of the saw. Place your right foot in the rear handle of the chainsaw and your left hand on the front handle with a wraparound grip, pushing down to stabilize the chainsaw. Check that your left foot is clear of the chain and that you are properly balanced. Slowly pull out the starter handle until the mechanism engages. Then give a short, sharp pull on the starter rope. When the engine starts, squeeze the throttle trigger to full revs and release, allowing the engine to return to idle. At this point, it is important to check that the chain brake is working properly. Fully open the throttle. Activate the chain brake by rotating your left wrist on the front guard, maintaining a wraparound grip. When the chain brake is activated, the chain should stop almost immediately. To ensure that the chain is being lubricated properly, hold the chain above a dry surface and open the throttle to half speed for about 30 seconds. A thin line of oil should be seen on the surface. During all chainsaw cutting operations, it is very important to maintain full control. This means that you will normally cut with the chainsaw no higher than waist level, and you must remember to never cut above shoulder height. A firm grip with both hands is essential. The left hand must be on the front handle and the right hand on the rear handle. Each hand must have the fingers and thumb fully encircling the handles. Never use the chainsaw with one hand, as it cannot be properly controlled. There are a variety of timber cutting tasks that can be undertaken using a chainsaw. Lumbering, or the removal of limbs and branches from standing or felled trees, requires a cross-cutting technique. However, during any cutting procedure, the operator must be aware of the reactive forces which operate when using a chainsaw. When cutting with the underside of the guide bar, the reactive force pulls the chain towards the timber. When cutting with the top side of the guide bar, the reactive force pushes the chain towards the operator. Kickback may occur when the upper tip of the nose of the guide bar contacts another log or branch, momentarily stalling the chain, and as a result causes the saw to kick violently upwards and backwards towards the operator. Kickback can also occur when the timber closes, thus pinching the moving chain. Operate the chainsaw with the line of the guide bar and chain outside of the body area. Before cutting, hold the saw firmly and ensure that you are properly balanced, your footing is secure, and that your feet are clear of any timber that may drop when cut through. Cutting should only be carried out with the chainsaw at full throttle. Always stand uphill of the timber being cut. Never attempt to stabilize timber with your feet or allow your feet to get in front of the guide bar. When cutting thick branches that are under tension, be alert for springback, as you can be injured when tension in the wood fibres is released and the branch springs back. If you have difficulty assessing the tension and compression, reduce the branches in stages by carefully cutting in sequence. Use extreme caution when cutting small-sized brush and saplings, because slender material may catch in the saw chain and be whipped towards you or pull you off balance. Always be alert for nails, wire or other obstructions. Never allow the chain to touch the ground when cutting. Damage to the cutters and guide bar will result. Never use the guide bar as a lever to move logs or branches. If you misjudge the effects of tension and compression when cutting the timber, you may pinch the guide bar, trapping it in the timber. Do not try to pull the chainsaw free. Switch off the ignition immediately and lift the log by hand, or use a lever to relieve the compression and free the trapped guide bar. Felling a tree presents a number of problems and dangers to the chainsaw operator. Therefore, before cutting commences, a survey of the area around the tree must be undertaken to avoid injury to people and damage to property. In planning the felling operation, a careful assessment of the following factors must be carried out. These factors will help you decide in which direction to fell the tree. First, assess the natural lean of the tree. Next, check the wind direction and strength. If the wind is strong, felling should not be carried out. Check the tree to see which side has the heaviest or most branches. Avoid felling across another tree, log, rocks, gully or ridge. If the tree is situated on a slope, do not fell uphill or downhill, but diagonally across the slope. Survey the area around the tree to check for overhead power and telephone cables. Contact the relevant authorities for assistance if necessary. Check for loose branches which may be lodged in the tree and remove any small branches at the bottom of the tree. Cordon off public right-of-ways. Place warning signs. Remove bystanders and animals from the area. Post an observer to ensure that no one is within a radius twice the height of the tree. Having decided on the direction of fall, you must decide on an escape route. The escape route should be at an angle opposite or away from the direction of the fall and free of obstructions. Having properly surveyed and planned the felling operation, cleared all obstructions including scrub and fallen limbs from around the base of the tree, cutting can now commence. The first cut is called the sink cut or notch cut. With the chainsaw at full revs, cut downwards at an angle of not less than 45 degrees, with the top of the guide bar at 90 degrees to the direction you want the tree to fall. The second cut is a horizontal cut for at least a quarter of the diameter of the tree, as close to the ground as possible, allowing a wedge of timber to be released. The final cut is the felling cut. The felling cut should be made from the opposite side of the tree, horizontally and above the level of the second cut. The larger the tree, the higher the felling cut should be, approximately 2.5 centimetres for every 30 centimetres of the tree diameter. Place the saw spike against the tree trunk and cut in an arc, pivoting the bar until you are cutting parallel with the notch. For trees larger than bar length, make 2 felling cuts, one from each side of the trunk. If the tree leans back when making this cut, use a plastic or alloy wedge to prevent pinching of the guide bar. Do not use steel wedges, as they may damage the chain cutters if contact is made. As you near the sink cut, watch the tree top and the cut for signs of movement. Most importantly, do not cut through to the sink cut. Stop cutting when approximately 5 centimetres from it. This leaves holding wood called a hinge, which controls the fall of the tree. As soon as the tree begins to move, pull the saw from the tree, turn it off and move quickly away along your escape route. At the completion of a day's work, clean the chainsaw, paying particular attention to the muffler and air cleaner, sprocket cover and chain brake mechanism. A build-up of oil and sawdust can cause the saw to malfunction. There is no doubt that a chainsaw can be a very dangerous tool, and that there is no substitute for proper training and a professional approach to their use. Planning your work with appropriate rest breaks is crucial. Remember, the primary concern of any chainsaw operator must always be the safest way to do the job, not the quickest or easiest. Also remember, drugs and alcohol do not mix with chainsaws, and this includes many prescription drugs. Do not use a chainsaw if you have any concerns which relate to the recent use of any drug or the consumption of alcohol. If the saw is properly maintained and used according to safe work practices, safe and accurate cutting will result. If you lack confidence in your ability to use a chainsaw, consult with the manufacturer, dealer, your supervisor, or an experienced operator before proceeding.